Sisters and brothers in Christ, we greet you from the kitchen here in the rectory as we prepare to reopen the pastorate of St. John and St. Joseph. When it came to selecting the name for the capital campaign at St. John to restore the historic bell tower, we chose the name the McElroy Effect: Restore, Rebuild, Renew. Father McElroy's legacy continues at St. John, St. Joseph, and in fact, all of the parishes throughout Frederick County. As the parishes of southern Frederick County, prepare to slowly reopen, perhaps it's time to call upon the intercession of Father McElroy as we restore, rebuild, renew, and now return.
These last few months, our parishioners have told us that they miss many things about coming to church, something that we perhaps have all taken for granted. Time after time, we heard from our people how much they missed receiving Holy Communion. And therefore, it's with great joy that we prepare to return to Mass on the Feast of Corpus Christi, the body of Christ.
We've been preparing for your return the last several weeks. The first weekend in March, when we were separated from you, we told you how much we missed you. That feeling has only grown stronger with the passage of time. We're excited to welcome back our people at St. John and St. Joseph. For those who are not in a position to return, we will continue to offer a live stream Mass. We're very limited in our capacity, so there will not be seating available for all. So our joy is tempered, to be sure. And we want to let everyone know what to expect upon return.
Even as we begin to return to both parishes, please know that Archbishop Lori has dispensed all the faithful, regardless of age, of the obligation to attend Sunday Mass. And that dispensation will continue for the foreseeable future. The process of returning may be slow and gradual for many, and that is just how it should be. We want everyone to return when it is safe for them to return.
What are the conditions of return? If you've been exposed to COVID-19 in the last month, we ask you to stay home. Everyone should check their temperature at home before they leave, and if you have a fever, you should also stay at home. We've been advised that older adults and people with pre-existing medical conditions of all ages should also stay home. We miss you, we love you, and we want to be with you, but we want you to be safe.
We are also very sensitive to the fact that wearing a mask or social distancing will be very unfamiliar, if not impossible, for some of our youngest parishioners. Some of our families may choose to continue to stay at home and celebrate Mass by way of our live stream. We encourage you to use your good judgment in what is best for you as an individual or for the various members of your family.
Now, we would like to offer some words to those who are ready and able to return to weekend Mass. In consultation with the priest of the neighboring parishes, we have selected the Feast of Corpus Christi, the weekend of June 13th and 14th, as the time to welcome back limited numbers of the faithful. It's also a great time liturgically to return to the table of the Lord.
So let's talk about some practical aspects of how we will return. The first thing we should note is the Mass schedule at both parishes will be reduced to allow for proper cleaning and disinfecting of the church spaces. Masses at St. John the Evangelist are as follows. The Spanish Mass will move to 5 p.m. Saturday, and there will be no English Mass on Saturday evening in this first phase. Masses on Sunday will be 9 a.m. and 12 noon.
St. Joseph-on-Carrollton Manor will continue to offer the live stream Mass at 5:30 p.m. on Saturday, though it'll be available all weekend, with the current limit of 10 liturgical ministers. Please note this is not a public Mass. It is out of caution and with the advice of the CDC that we will suspend public singing at all public Masses. Since the 5:30 Mass is not public, it will allow us to provide music for those watching at home. Parishioners at St. Joseph's are invited to attend Masses at 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. on Sunday morning. Please note the change to the Mass schedule, which will allow us to disinfect and clean the church in between Masses.
We will open slowly and safely. After we have some experience under our belt to make some observations, we will consider daily Masses, Saturday confessions, adoration of the Blessed Sacrament, other devotions, in-person meetings, and ministries. Our first priority now is the resumption of weekend masses and reception of Holy Communion.
To allow for the necessary social distancing and reduced seating capacity, the number of available seats in the pews will be severely reduced in both parishes. We are limited to less than 1/3 of our established capacity. As a result, our parishes will be using an e-ticketing platform. It will be necessary to procure seating ahead of time, a kind of reservation, if you will. The office staff will happily assist anyone who has difficulty going online.
It is important to make use of this e-ticketing platform if you hope to attend Mass. Given the very limited number of seats, we do not foresee the ability to accept walk-ins unless we have any last-minute no-shows. Again, you can seek assistance from our parish offices if there's any troubles with this.
As you arrive at both parishes, you'll immediately notice that things look different. Once you get out of your car, please make sure that every member of your household puts on a mask. Archbishop Lori, out of concern for the health and well-being of all parishioners, has required everyone who enters the church to wear a mask. He has also asked our priests, deacons, and liturgical ministers not to gather on the front plaza to greet you before or after Mass. This is one of the many things that we find sad but necessary during this phase 1. At St. John, the front doors, and only the front doors, will be open. At St. Joseph, the breezeway doors, and only the breezeway doors, will be open. All other doors will be locked. We also will have the doors open, so there will be no need to make contact with the door handles. We've taken care of that for you.
When you arrive, a greeter will check your e-ticket and escort you to your seat. And should you find yourself in line waiting to check in, please see the markings on the floor that will help you stay socially distanced. Please follow the greeter's instructions when being seated, as we will try to maximize the seating capacity for any given Mass. Many of you will find yourself sitting in a seat or section that is different from your usual section. Your patience is appreciated when being seated.
Upon arrival at the pew, there are some markings on the pews. The middle section has been blocked off in each pew. If there are people at both ends of your pew, please refrain from sitting in the middle blocked off section. If you're a single family unit in one pew all by yourselves, you can spread out in the pew. Please do not move into pews that are blocked off at any time. You will also note that the hymnals and other materials in the pew racks have been removed. Please do not add any additional things to the pew racks during your stay.
We have been asked to continue to offer the sign of peace with no physical contact. Please feel free to smile, bow, or use the gesture we have borrowed from the deaf community to offer Christ's peace to those around you.
The offertory collection and the procedures for Holy Communion will both look and feel a bit different. To eliminate the need for passing offertory baskets, containers will be available at the front doors of both churches to drop off your offertory donation. We thank the growing number of parishioners who are using electronic fund transfer, or EFTs, who can happily bypass these containers.
When it comes time for the distribution of Holy Communion, you will be asked to come forward by section, remaining 6 feet apart in the communion aisle. The maintenance staff of St. John's has built custom communion shields for both parishes to protect you and the minister distributing communion. As you approach the shield, please remove your mask and slide your hands under the shield. The minister will distribute the Lord's body in your hand, making every effort not to touch your hands. It's best if you create a cup with your hands. Please do not touch the wood of the shield, and please make every effort not to move your hands during the distribution process. We are asking those who normally receive on the tongue to make the personal sacrifice for the protection of the distributing ministers and those who come from behind you by receiving Holy Communion in your hand. Out of an abundance of caution, we will not be distributing communion on the tongue. If this prevents you from receiving at this time, please continue to pray the spiritual communion prayer. After you have received, please put your mask back on and return to your pew.
Finally, when it comes time for dismissal, please follow the directions of the greeters, who will dismiss you by pew or by section. Please remain in place until your pew or section has been called. It pains us to say this because it goes against everything that we believe about building community, but during these months of COVID-19, you're asked not to gather or congregate in the narthex or the front plaza of both churches. Please continue social distancing as you return to your car. At the conclusion of each Mass, both of the churches will be completely emptied to begin sanitizing and disinfecting for the next Mass.
Finally, a very practical matter. The area of greatest concern, as we know, when it comes to spreading germs is the use of restrooms. At St. Joseph, the single restrooms across from the sacristy are the only restroom facilities that will be available during Masses. The restrooms down by La Pointe Hall will be closed. At St. John's, we will continue to use the restrooms in the atrium, but ask that only 1 to 2 people be present at a time. Cleaning materials, including hand wipes and hand sanitizer will be present in each location.
We know this has been a lot to digest. Believe me when I tell you, it's taken the last several weeks of preparation on the part of the staff and all of our volunteers. This is a crucial first step in returning to what will eventually become our new normal. We will do all that we can to make this transition as easy as possible.
To those who will need to remain home, know we miss you dearly and deeply and pray that you stay safe.
And to those who are ready to return, know that we are preparing to welcome you with open arms, albeit 6 feet away and with a mask. May the Spirit that comes to us at Pentecost continue to be with each of us as we restore, rebuild, renew, and now return.
God bless.